Pica, the Director of Communications for the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, and we want to welcome everyone first to the 2015 Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. Two great teams once again here playing in this stadium on December 24th. And this morning we'll get a chance to hear from the head coaches of the participating schools along with some of our friends that help us put this game together year-round. So to my left, Richard Giannini, who's the Executive Director of the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. Hector Munoz, the Chief Marketing Officer for the United States from Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, our title sponsor. Harrison Thompson, the Permanent Secretary for the Minister of Tourism. Representing the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture, the General Manager of the National Sports Authority, Jeffrey Beckles. And the two head coaches from Middle Tennessee, Rick Stockstill, and from Western Michigan, PJ Fleck. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Executive Director of the Bowl, Mr. Richard Giannini.
Thank you very much, Chris. I want to welcome everyone here. And, you know, the slogan this year has been Bowls are better in the Bahamas. And we've assured both Middle Tennessee State and Western Michigan that it's truly going to be that type of experience. And we appreciate everyone being here today. I, too, want to congratulate the two institutions, Western Michigan. I'd like to introduce their athletic director, Kathy Beauregard, who's been an old friend for many years. And their head coach, PJ Fleck. Appreciate you all being here, and congratulations. And I'd like to introduce the athletic director at Middle Tennessee State, Chris Massaro. Chris. And congratulations to you, Coach Rick Stockstill, and appreciate you all being here. They're really two great teams, outstanding teams. They've had excellent seasons, and I know you'll be anxious to hear from them. I just want to thank a few people and introduce some others. But first of all, I'd like to thank the individual right here on my left, Hector Munoz, who you'll hear from, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Popeyes. And he is just, not only are they a great company and just outstanding, it's just a terrific story. And but better than that, they're just great people to work with. And Hector, we appreciate you and appreciate your company, and glad to have you here. And I think he'll tell you some exciting news that most of you here in this country already know about, but I'll let him do that. Of course, I'd like to thank you, Permanent Secretary Harrison. You've been a great friend to us, and we really appreciate everything you've done for the bowl game and being a part of it. Mr. Jeffrey Beckles, who's representing the minister, Dr. Danny Johnson. Jeff actually runs the stadium out here for the National Sports Authority and does a great job for us. And the actual chairman of the National Sports Authority, we're glad to have with you always Leroy Archer. Leroy's back here in the back. Everybody say hello to Leroy. Thank you. And, you know, the couple of people on our staff, you know, this year ESPN and Disney Company has taken over the operation of the game. And I've been almost a part of the situation from day one, but the individual that is really the founder of this game and who works with me hand in hand, and I know everyone here knows her because of her work, and she's the one that brought the Battle for Atlantis here to the Atlantis and has become one of the premier basketball tournaments, college basketball tournaments in the United States. It is the premier one other than the NCAA championship, and that's Lee Miller. Lee, appreciate you. And I've got two guys over here in working clothes, and I got to introduce them because they're the guys that really help make it for the teams. But Tom Snyder, who's Associate Athletic Director at the University of Central Florida, and Paul Bender. Paul, you know, Tom, we appreciate you and glad to have you here today. I'd just like to just go over a couple of quick facts and then we'll turn it over and get going. But ESPN is so pleased to be about this game, and it gives the presence of the Disney Company and ESPN a great opportunity to have a wonderful operation here in the Bahamas and on New Providence Island, and they're so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of it. And just like we had last year, we've got one of their premier television groups that are going to come down and be a part of the talent. Steve Levy is going to be here. Mark May, who was with us last year, and then Coach Mack Brown, who for a long time was the head football coach at the University of Texas. So we're really pleased at that. And last year the game did tremendous exposure back in the United States and was really televised all over the world on ESPN1. And the same thing will happen again this year. Just wanted to go for the media, go over some just a few quick things. The team arrivals will be next week, next Sunday on the 20th. We'll let you know when they are coming in, but that'll be the team arrival. The next 2 days, on the 21st and 22nd, the teams will be practicing out here at the stadium and also over at Roscoe Davis Field. They'll be out here in the mornings. And then the big afternoon on Tuesday, the 22nd, is when we do our civic duty here on the island. And as you know, the Rand Furley home is a big funding part that we've gotten involved in, and the bowl makes a huge contribution to that children's home. And we'll have an opportunity to take the student athletes out there and meet their children. And once again, we're excited to be over there and have the student athletes have that opportunity. And then following that, also out here at the Roscoe Davies soccer field, it actually is, but football field, we're going to have the youth clinic. And any youth in this community from ages 7 to 13 are welcome to come and participate in that. And we've got USA Football, which is the governing body of youth football in the United States, is coming down to help with the 2 teams that participate to help and conduct that tournament. So or that clinic, and that'll be a great event. And then everything starts out here at 9:30 on 12/24. Do you all know what 12/24 is? All right, Christmas Eve. We're going to have a great party out here, and it's going to start at 9:30. And Popeyes is going to have a lot of fun activities for everybody here, and the Ministry of Tourism is going to have music out here and a lot of fun. So it'll be a great atmosphere, a great tailgate party leading off to the game. And then these 2 teams are going to provide incredible situation in football. You'll get to see college football at its best. And then I know for the local Bahamians, we're going to have a wonderful halftime this year. Last year we had the Valley Boys came and were a part of the halftime. And this year we've added a little twist, and we're going to have the Saxtons along with the Valley Boys. So this may be the first time in history that both those groups have gone against each other on a football field. So we want everyone to come out and be a part of that. And again, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the week and here on 12/24. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And at this time, we're going to turn it over to Hector Munoz, the Chief Marketing Officer for the United States for Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, who's been a tremendous friend to this bowl from last year, from our inaugural game, and with us once again this season. And they've had some great news here in the Bahamas that he's going to share along with some other information. So, Hector.
All right, great. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Richard, and thank you, Lee, for everything that you obviously do for the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. Obviously couldn't do it without you. Also like to thank Minister Thompson and Jeffrey Beckles for being great partners and bringing the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, obviously, to the wonderful islands here. Want to welcome the team, Coach Stockstill and his Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. Also, Coach Fleck with his Western Michigan Broncos. Congratulations on a great season. You both come in with just a ton of momentum, and we're looking forward to just a spectacular game, and we couldn't be more honored to have you play in our bowl game. Also want to take the opportunity to thank ESPN for allowing us, obviously, to air this game on ESPN on December 24th at noon, once again. But as importantly, for their commitment to the game, their investment in the game, and the fact that it is going to be one of their key bowl games for their holiday lineup. So that's a big deal, and I just want to make sure that I thank them. As you all know, we officially opened our first Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen a couple of days ago. I had the opportunity, yeah, that deserves an applaud, right? I had the opportunity to visit the restaurant yesterday, and not only were there lines out the door, there were cars down the road. Last time I counted, I think it was well north of 50 cars backed up, waiting to get some Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. So we couldn't be more thrilled to be in the Bahamas and to be able to share with you our very bold and flavorful Louisiana cuisine. And I trust that you all will be impressed with the product innovation that we bring to the islands moving forward, and it's obviously coming soon. But really wanted to also share with you how pleased we are with the franchisees that we selected, our business partners, proven operators that have just done so many wonderful things, not only for the Popeyes brand, but for other brands here in the island. And that's Mr. Chris and Terry Savusis. That's, I pronounced it right, Savusis. Again, just great operators, and there's more to come when I tell you that. One of the things I wanted to say is I hope that, with the opening of this restaurant and with the opening of future restaurants here in the island, and obviously our commitment and our renewed agreement to the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl as the title sponsor, I hope that just continues to demonstrate how committed we are to the islands and the economy of the Bahamas. And in speaking of commitment, also really proud of the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl Youth League and the first season that we had here, and the fact that we have the ability to really educate the youth here in the Bahamas of the great game of football. And not only football, because it's more than wins and losses, but there are so many other life lessons that we're going to be able to educate the youth on. Obviously, the value of teamwork, discipline, respect, brotherhood, just to name a few. So we're really excited about that. And what better place, right? It's nowhere better than the Bahamas. But what better place than to start a new tradition than here in the Bahamas? So we're really excited about that. In closing, really looking forward to a great week. And obviously, thanks to the Atlantis for providing a spectacular venue and for being a great host. But I will tell you, gentlemen, you have some big shoes to fill. As you all know, last year's the last play of the game was kind of a big deal. It was an SB-nominated play, and I'm not going to sit here and say we want to do that again, because we don't. This time we want to win the SB, all right? So let's see if you can do that for us. I know the game's going to be great. I know Western Michigan and Middle Tennessee are going to just bring a high level of football, caliber football, to our bowl game, and just really looking forward to a great week. Thank you very much.
Next for us is Harrison Thompson, who's the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, who is tremendously important to the bowl and to our efforts on the islands and having folks come out to the game, but also the promotion of the Bahamas back to the United States. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have them with us again. So, Secretary Thompson, I'll let you open up.
Thank you very much, Chris, Richard, Hector, two coaches, my colleague. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all welcome our two teams to the Bahamas on behalf of the government of the Bahamas, particularly the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Sports, who my friend will speak for in a few minutes. We are indeed pleased that you have been selected. And Middle Tennessee has some roots in the Bahamas, but I don't, we're not being biased. The president of Middle Tennessee was born in the Bahamas, and so we have some roots here from Middle Tennessee. But this game that we look forward to on Christmas Eve is a special time for the Bahamas. Christmas in the Bahamas is like Christmas nowhere else in the world. And for us to take a whole day off to celebrate football, college football, is a great time for all of us. And that shows how important this game is to the Bahamas. The game has proven its worth by locking in last year's game and viewers from more than 11 million households throughout the United States and elsewhere. Clips from the inaugural Popeyes Bowl game were played in 401 TV news segments and 1,587 articles were written about the game. If that wasn't enough, the game was mentioned in over 56,000 social media posts. A famous Hail Mary play that was mentioned a few minutes ago was easily one of the most famous highlights in the NCAA football year. And the play even made it to the FC award And as Hector indicated, this year we intend to win the award. So our two teams have a great job to perform. These are priceless marketing for the Bahamas. And the game has been priceless for the Bahamas in that we were able to market the game and market the Bahamas. With all those social posts and the media houses that were here for the game and played the game over and over again, it's invaluable to the marketing strategy that we have in the Bahamas. So that's why the Ministry of Tourism have to support and have to show its support in a serious way to this game. Players, coaches, and fans who attended last year's game are still raving about the wonderful time they had here. We believe, no doubt, that Middle Tennessee of Conference USA and Western Michigan of Mid-American Conference will give us an even more exciting game this Christmas Eve. So, gentlemen, your shoes are big to offset what we had last year. We're expecting families and fans of those two outstanding football teams to join us here in the Bahamas this Christmas season. And as I mentioned earlier, Christmas in the Bahamas is like no place else. If they haven't seen Santa Claus before, they'll see him in the Bahamas during Christmas Eve. To all our visitors, we encourage you while you are here to trade in your winter wear for bathing suits, shorts, and flip-flops, and go under the coconut tree and drink some coconut water. We want you to experience our culture, our cuisine, and the friendly people that the Bahamas is known for. We always say that it's better in the Bahamas, but although it's better in the Bahamas, the best is yet to come. And we want you to know that once you come to the Bahamas, you'll start to experience what the best is all about. There's a lot about the Bahamas we're sure you'll love. And on behalf of the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Obi Wilchcombe, the entire Ministry of Tourism, and the people of the Bahamas, we welcome you to our beautiful shores. And our two teams and our friends from, Popeyes is a part of the family now. They have started their first business, and by next year we'll have many more. So to all of those who are visiting, we want you to enjoy the Bahamas because we want to show you what we are known around the world for, and that our friendly people, our hospitality, and our cuisine, which is unique, and our culture, which we know you would enjoy. Popeyes, college football, ESPN, and the Bahamas. Now, that's what we call a touchdown. Put those four together and you have a touchdown. Hail Mary is a joke to what you will have if you put the four of those together. When you leave, you'll be saying that it is indeed better in the Bahamas. Again, I want to thank you, and I want to welcome our teams and our friends who will come and visit us and share with us during the Christmas holidays. And we want you to really enjoy yourselves. The government of the Bahamas will do everything in its power to ensure your safety and everything else while you're here. So please come. Leave all your worries and cares back home, because in the Bahamas, you can let your head down and enjoy the balmy breeze. Have a wonderful time in the Bahamas. Thank you.
Thanks, Secretary Thompson. Now we'll, unfortunately, Dr. Daniel Johnson, who's the Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture, could not make it to the press conference this morning. So representing him and the ministry is Jeffrey Beckles, who is also the General Manager of the National Sports Authority here in the Bahamas. So Jeffrey, on behalf of Dr. Johnson, I'll let you speak on his behalf.
Well, thank you, Chris, and good morning, everyone. And I do join my colleague, Secretary Harrison, in welcoming you back to the Bahamas, and to many of you for the very first time. And it is indeed a privilege to represent our minister, Dr. Daniel Johnson, who is not able to be here today. Chris might have said it's unfortunate, but I look at it this way. The minister is fortunate that he has people who can absolutely represent him. So for me, it's a fortune. But again, thank you so much. We want to say a very special welcome to both coaches And Coach PJ, I saw your video, and if your team plays with any degree of the energy that I saw in that video on YouTube the other day, I think we're going to have a great time. Coach Rick, you know, we talked about the Bahamian route and connection with Middle Tennessee State and all the expectations of last year's game. And yes, there was a lot of hype. We're not going to put that burden on you. All we're going to tell you is that we expect a great show. We'll leave the rest to you. But obviously, the partnership with the Popeyes brand, having the inaugural event last year, has already begun to reap benefits for the Bahamas. As I said to one of my colleagues yesterday, last year, yes, it was indeed the original event. This year, we now have our first Bahamian Popeyes restaurant, and it is that kind of progressive efforts that we're hoping that this partnership will continue to produce. Every year, we want to be able to make a statement of how we've added and built on what we established the year before. And since this is a rather long-term relationship, we want to say to all of the partners involved, ESPN, both conferences, the team that worked so hard with the Bahamas Bowl organization, that we will identify some milestone over the next few years that every time we execute this event, we will be able to point to something significant that we would have done. The fact that we opened this restaurant yesterday in the Bahamas, which I understand is going to be the first of many, also gives us a lot of great hope for a very firm foundation on which we can build. But the minister, as you know, who is an extraordinarily very hyped up sports fan himself, is very excited about opportunities to expose our young people to opportunities of what they can be. The youth football program that was started last year is one good example of that, and we're certainly appreciative of the efforts for those who have been involved in that. And I believe that, coaches, you're going to have even more young people this year. Last year there was several hundred young people. I believe that this year you're going to be really inundated with a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. And because school has already been closed, this is something that many of our students are looking forward to. So I think you can anticipate a tremendous turnout this year. And I think the players, as they indicated last year, this was a first for many of the players. And as Secretary Harrison said earlier, every time people come to this country, we want them to experience a first. And many of the players who'd never been to the Bahamas before, in their own video recorded testimonies, indicated the impact of having traveled to the Bahamas, interacted with our young people, experienced our cuisine and our culture, and went back with a totally different appreciation for a vacation. And so we want to invite you, the listening public and the viewing public, to find the time to be here in the Bahamas on Christmas Eve to enjoy this game with us. This year's slogan we've adopted with our colleagues in the Ministry of Tourism, it's family, fun, and football. We want to invite every visitor who's going to be in the Bahamas, every resident, to come out to the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium as early as 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve. We are going to have a tailgate party that's going to be unforgettable. And with our partners here, Coca-Cola, Burns House, the Ministry of Tourism, Popeyes, it is going to be a grand experience. And so we really want you to know that the Bahamas is committed to ensuring that this partnership not only grows, but that the awareness, the international and global awareness that the Bahamas is truly working very diligently to ensure that we are a premier sports and entertainment event, hosting event country. We have already had a great start with several global events, and we're going to continue to use this platform with the Bahamas Popeyes Bowl to ensure that we continue to work hard to achieve that objective. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege for us to be here, and thank you so much. We look forward to an absolutely wonderful time on Christmas Eve. Trade in the snow and the sleet and the ice and the rain and come join us in the balmy Bahamas, because we obviously believe that not only is it better in the Bahamas, but sports is better in the Bahamas. Thank you so much. And on behalf of Dr. Daniel Johnson, our Minister of Sports, we say a very warm welcome and Merry Christmas to all.
Jeffrey, thank you very much. And then now we will take it to the two coaches who will be bringing their teams here to Nassau in the coming days, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders and the Western Michigan Broncos. Both teams come in with 7-5 records. Both teams come in with a pair of wide receivers that will be running up and down the field. The Bahamas loves a good track meet, and we promise that they will get one here inside the track numbers. And also, in a rarity, we also have both conferences, Conference USA and the MAC, we have the current freshman of the year playing in this game. So we've got a lot of very young talent, some very good talent, and I think, like last year's game, I think there's going to be some good football being played here in the Thomas Robinson National Stadium. So with that, I want to introduce first, to give an opening statement, Rick Stockstill, the head coach of the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. Coach?
Thank you, Chris. First of all, I'd like to start out by thanking Richard and Lee for everything you've done, Hector, the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Beckles. Just appreciate everybody in the Bahamas that is associated with this bowl. It's an honor for us to represent Conference USA in this game. It's an honor to represent Middle Tennessee to play in this game. I'd like to congratulate Coach Fleck and his team for an outstanding year, a very good football team. So I'm just very appreciative of everybody. I'm appreciative of the opportunity to play in this game. And I know our players are excited to get here because of all the reasons everybody has stated. But we look forward to this game. We've got a team that's going to play extremely hard. We take pride in playing this game the way it's supposed to be played, and just looking forward to bringing our team down here and enjoying the Bahamas, and then having the opportunity to compete against a really good Western Michigan football team. So, again, I'm just thankful for Richard and Lee. You guys are unbelievable. The hospitality has been great, and just look forward to getting here in a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. And representing the MAC, Western Michigan Broncos head coach, P.J. Fleck. Coach?
Yes, I am the football coach. Some of you yesterday asked what position I played on that team. So I guess it's better than the alternative. So, look, we're honored to be here. I want to thank everybody at ESPN, Popeyes, the Bahamas Bowl Committee. Lee, thank you for having the vision that you had and to come over to this sport and really have the vision for football. Everyone's been so gracious. We're very, very pleased to represent the Mid-American Conference and Western Michigan. And as Coach Rick had just stated, we get to play an elite opponent. And we've kind of talked about it before that these two opponents, these two teams are really like looking in the mirror. And I think everybody's in for a treat on Christmas Eve. But thank you so much for all your hospitality. I've never been to the islands. I don't have any ties to the islands. Make that very clear. But it really is a treat. I know our team's very excited. They're back preparing. Coach Rick and I were actually just talking that we missed practice yesterday and today. It's kind of awkward for head coaches to actually miss a practice, but we're doing okay. We're doing all right. When head coaches are away from their team, they panic a little bit. But I think our culture has come so far, and we're just so pleased and so privileged and honored, Richard, to be here, and Hector, and it really is an honor. And a year and 13 weeks ago, we were the worst team in college football. We were hired to change the culture. And for the first time in school history, we've had back-to-back bowl games. And we're looking at the opportunity to possibly win the first two back-to-back 8-win seasons, win the first bowl game in program history. We've been back-to-back outright Cannon Trophy, which is in our conference, winners, as well as Michigan MAC Trophy winners. And we defeated our first top 25 opponent this year against the last game of the year against the Toledo Rockets. So we've had 4 freshman players of the year consecutively, which has never happened in our conference, no other university. And we won the first MAC West title since 2000. So there's a lot of, it's been the year of the nevers for us and the year of the firsts, accomplishing a lot. But we knew when we took this job it was going to be very difficult, but we wanted to change that culture very fast. And the way we were able to do that was through family, through the word how, energy, and by rowing the boat. So you're going to hear a lot about rowing the boat with our football team when we're here. Has nothing to do with the Bronco, but it is it's very deep and close to our program, and it's really a staple of the never give up mantra that we have in our program. The oars are the energy, the boat is the sacrifice, and the compass is the direction of your life. And we're just very excited to be here. We really are. And I know maybe some of you have some questions, so I'll just kind of stop talking, and we'll talk about our players and things like that. But I know we're very excited. Our players are, and our administration is as well. So thank you to everyone. We're very honored to be here.
Coach Fleck, thank you. At this time, everyone will be available for some short one-on-ones at the end of the press conference. So what I'd like to do is direct our questions right now for our two head coaches. John?
I'm not sure playing Alabama and Illinois and Vanderbilt had anything to do with the Marshall game. I think just the resiliency, the competitive spirit of our football team throughout the course of the year, how we played every game, gave us the opportunity to beat Marshall. Marshall was a good football team, and they were 8-1 when we played them. And but just I don't look back and think that playing Alabama or playing this team or the Power 5 teams had anything to do with winning that game. Yeah, Brent has had a really good year this year. He's a pleasure to coach. He's an outstanding young man. If you came to our practices or come to our game, you would not know he's my son if you didn't already know that. Probably harder on him than anybody on that team. And I said last night, as good as he has been statistically this year, the intangibles that he brings to our team from a leadership standpoint, a toughness standpoint, an energy and passion standpoint, have been more impressive and been more critical to our team than what he's done statistically. And he's had a really good year.
Well, I think when your best players are your hardest workers, you start to have a culture. And that's very similar with Daniel and Corey. They're two receivers with 1,200-plus yards. They both have either 12 touchdowns or 11 touchdowns, both over 80 catches. Daniel's with 102, and Corey's with 82. But I think they're two of the top receivers in the country, as well as Coach Ricks. You really have four of the most dynamic players in the country playing in your game, and I think everybody's in for a treat. But it's because of their work ethic. You know, both of those players are our hardest workers on our team. And if you have to try to stimulate really good players to play well and to work, you've got a problem. We don't have that problem. You know, they're the two hardest workers we have, and I'm very proud of their work and their efforts and what they've been able to accomplish this year. And it's a direct reflection of their work, because we are a balanced offense. We throw the ball 50% of the time, we run the ball 50% of the time. So for us, you know, we're not throwing it 90 times a game where they're going to have 100 catches. They've got to be able to earn those catches and to get open. So I'm really proud of those two. They're fine human beings. I think you're really going to enjoy being around those guys. They got incredible personalities, and they're better people than they are players. Well, I don't think it's very hard to convince your family members to come to the Bahamas. There's a lot of other places you go to a bowl game where you sit there and go, well, do I really want to go out there? This is not one of those places. I know this. We have a video released of when we actually told our players that we were actually coming to the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, and they went absolutely crazy. So I think they're like little kids in a candy store. They cannot wait to be here. Practices are a lot more exciting when you're coming to the Bahamas. There's a big light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you don't have to deal with snow. You don't have to deal with those things, as everyone talked about with the flip-flops. And now they do have to practice, and they do have to have pads on. We're not going to practice in the flip-flops, which some of them have asked. But I think that we'll have a great turnout. We really will. We have a very close-knit family. We decided to recruit a 6-hour radius around Kalamazoo, Michigan, around the Midwest when we got there for this particular reason. We want not only mom and dad, but brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, teachers, family members, friends, to show support no matter where they go. And again, it doesn't take much convincing to tell people that we're heading to the Bahamas and would you like to come?
I guess the easiest way for me to answer that question, I have a daughter, Emily, who's a freshman in college, and normally she asks, can I get sideline passes, 4 or 5 sideline passes for her friends. She asked for how many seats can she get on the plane to bring her friends. So we're extremely excited to be here, and just, this is a wonderful opportunity. 90%, 95% of our players, this may be the only time they have the opportunity to leave the country and to come to the Bahamas. So just the appreciation and how humble that we are and honored to be here. Our players are really looking forward to it. We finished up exams yesterday, today, and, so our families, our fans, our coaches' kids, they're extremely just appreciative to be able to come here and experience the hospitality of the Bahamas. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, I think they really want to make it happen. I think you're going to have both seniors on both sides of the teams. You're going to have them really wanting to end their career on a high note. We don't have many seniors. We got 9 seniors that actually play. But one thing I'll say about them, they've been through the ups and downs of this program. A lot of them were 7-5, then they went 4-8, then 1-11, and then last year they went 8-5, and now they're back up to another bowl game. So they've seen the whole spectrum of where our culture is headed. But I think to top it off for them would be very beneficial for their entire life. That no matter what happens to you in your life, good or bad, if you just continue to stay the course and keep your oar in the water, things are going to happen for you that are positive. And I think that's the biggest lesson they can learn as they move forward. And they've been very dynamic for us. There's only 9 of them really left when they really had a class of 25. And we have a sign in our building, as Bo Schembechler had at Michigan, too, those who stay will be champions. And 2 years ago, that looked really, really far in the distance, being 1-11. But what they were able to do when they just they buckled down and continued to lead and stay the course, and they saw a lot of people leave the program, but they stayed. And the ones that stayed, that's very difficult to do with a new culture change. That's very, very difficult, and I'm really proud of them. And I'm even proud of our younger kids to be able to follow them, And, we played 18 freshmen last year, and we've got one of the younger teams in the country. And it's great for them to be able to see that type of leadership from the seniors that are still on this football team.
Just the persistence and the positive attitude, the resiliency that teams have to show, the competitive spirit that you have to play with, that you have to practice with each and every day. You finish what you start. You're not graded at midterm. You don't get a final grade at midterm. And these guys just stayed positive. We had some tough, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losses, there in the middle of the season. And just proud of the leadership and the mental toughness that our team showed throughout the course of this season. You ignore the noise. You don't listen to what people say on the outside. You stay committed and focused on what you can control. And that's what this team did. And we were fortunate enough to close out the season and, winning 4 in a row. So it just goes back to the leadership and the resiliency, the persistence of your football team.
Yesterday, it was Ricky James was a USA Today All-American. He made the team. How is it that a freshman coming in can make such an impact to the team?
He's a good player. Obviously, when individuals get into recognition, it's not just because of them. He's got good people around him, and he's a very humble young man. He's an extremely hard worker, and he's worked hard since he's been in our program, and but he had a lot of good people around him to help him achieve that. But obviously, he's a good player, and so it's a great honor for him. But he'll be the first one to tell you he didn't do it by himself. So it's a great individual honor, but he's a good football player.
Darius is one of those young men that last year we had him at wide receiver, and he was really our third receiver and one of the fastest kids on our football team, one of the toughest kids on our football team. And, we had when you go through a culture change, last year we only had 64 kids on scholarship. We were 21 less than everybody else just by changing the entire culture. And then we finally have 85 scholarships this year, but we were a little thin at the cornerback position. And Darius Phillips is he's an all Mid-American Conference defensive back, and then he's an all Mid-American Conference kick returner. He took the opening or second kickoff really against Michigan State. We played him at the beginning of the year for a touchdown and consistently did that throughout the entire year. And he's one of those things, one of those guys that can really change a game at any point. And I think both teams have those types of players. And I think when people want to look at the offense and defense, I think, special teams gets lost in there, but not for these two programs. You watch them play special. The first thing we did when we watched Coach Rick's football team is we put on the kickoff team. That's what I like to watch. Some people like to watch field goal block. I like to watch kickoff team. I mean, that is a tough job to run down on kickoff, bust wedge, do things like that. And I think you're in for a treat to watch these special teams play. And Darius Phillips is one of those guys. And he's been a very unique story. And for us, he's just really been a very influential player, especially on our defensive side of the ball, but as a kick returner as well.
Coaches, thank you very much. And at this time, we'll do a short photo op, but we want to thank everybody to come out, and then everyone will be available for some short one-on-ones. Thank you, guys.